welcome to this video. I'm Jean. I'm a self-taught artist. I work full-time in healthcare, but I'm trying to work on my art career on the side. So I hope you join me today in this video working out some mixed media ideas that I have for Christmas trees. This is kind of a tutorial for people that don't know a lot about mixed media to get them started layering things together. I'm going to try to use a consistent color palette so we can compare the different types of mixed media and the effects that they give. Let's get into this video and make some mixed media Christmas trees.
We're going to be using watercolor, colored pencils, Fineliner, watercolor pencils, and gouache. This first demo is using acrylic ink, gouache, and colored pencils in that order. Acrylic ink is a really great first layer if you're new to mixed media. It dries quickly, it doesn't pick up with other layers on top of it. It's very vibrant. I'm using some watercolor paper just because it's small and what I have available. This is a Fabriano type of paper. I'm just making a very textured base shape for a Christmas tree. Nothing too fancy. We're gonna let that dry, and then the second layer is gonna be gouache. Now, this is traditional gouache. It's a student grade, but is traditional in the sense that it will reactivate with layers on top of it. So that's why I'm putting it on top of the acrylic ink. I'm mixing some red and gold. And I probably should have waited for the red to dry because some of it started blending and turning pink. So if you want very clean shapes, definitely let things dry in between. You could do whatever you want decoration wise. I just did some round ornaments and some garland for the second layer. And then I realized I didn't have a tree stump. So I just went back in with some gouache and lightly painted that in. And last but not least is colored pencil. And I thought about doing the colored pencil on top of the acrylic ink before I did the gouache, but I really wasn't sure how gouache would sit on top of the waxy colored pencil. If you have an oil-based or waxed-based pencil, that may give you different results. But this is the Prismacolor Premier pencils, and they layer really well on top of the acrylic ink. So I'm just kind of lightly going over the acrylic ink with the Prismacolors. And it's adding a lot of beautiful texture on top of that base layer. Next, we're going to do a Fineliner, watercolor, gouache, and colored pencil combination in that order. Fineliner, watercolor, gouache, and then colored pencil. I just sketched out a basic shape, and now I'm just going over it with my Fineliner. These are one of my favorite drawing utensils. I'm trying to look and see what color for sure. Okay, these are the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen in dark sepia. And there's different size nibs depending on what you prefer. These are wonderful because they don't smudge. They're waterproof. And I think you're supposed to wait 24 hours, but I didn't. I went straight in like less than 5 minutes after putting it down and doing clear water. And now I'm just dropping in the color. And as you can see, the pit pens did not move. That's why I love them so much. So I wanted to do a wet and wet technique. So I put the clear water down, and now I'm just adding the pigment in to create the texture. And honestly, depending on the kind of watercolor you use, it really does most of the heavy lifting. Like, you don't have to do anything crazy special techniques. It just does all the work for you. It just makes it interesting because of the different granulation in the pigments. It's one of the reasons why I love watercolor. Very friendly. Look at that beautiful texture. Now it's time for our gouache layer. Again, gouache is going closer to the top because it will reactivate. I added some more marks on the trunk just to give it some more interest. I will say that I really like working on these gummed pads instead of taping down watercolor paper. This is so much easier to use. The only thing is I like to work on multiple pieces at the same time. So when I can tape my paintings down, I can tape down several and work on them simultaneously. Whereas with these gummed pads, you can only do one at a time. Or at least I didn't want to pull it off and then have it warp. I let it dry on there before I took it off. So not too shabby, kind of cute. Finally, again, like in the first one, we're taking the Prismacolor Premier and we're going back and adding some more delicious texture. I wanted to keep all the colors the same across the different techniques so we could compare and contrast. Watercolor pencil and gouache is last, and I have to say this was my favorite. So just 2 supplies. You can sketch with the watercolor pencil, so there's no need for a graphite pencil. You can just jump right in with watercolor pencil. I love that. I have the, I believe, Albrecht Dürer Faber-Castell pencils, watercolor pencils. They were gifted to me by my dad. It was one of my very first art supplies. Once you get your sketch down, you just take clean water and you can activate it. And it creates this wonderful texture and wonderful base layer. There's no need to like rush because the pigment's already there. One of my favorite things to do with watercolor pencils is once my paper is nice and wet, I go back on top of it with the dry pencil and it creates these interesting marks. It's very smooth and buttery, and it's just very fun to play with it like that. I'm not sure if that's how they're intended, but I really like doing that with them. So we're building up quite some nice, interesting texture with just one supply. Now we're going back and adding some gouache on top of it. really simple design here. I just wanted to show you guys the different ways to layer things up if you've never experienced mixed media, if you've never got to really get into mixed media. I think the main thing is just like letting things dry. But once the gouache layer was down, I went back with the watercolor pencil and added some more of the dry marks in. Anywhere that I thought needed just some interest or some contrast. It was just really fun to play with these. I decided to add a little bit more gouache detail on the ornaments just because they were so big and there really wasn't anything on them. And then I went back through with the watercolor pencil and simultaneously made marks and then used clean water to kind of rub it out. And then when the paper was wet, I used the pencil again. So I kind of just switched back and forth between the pencil and the watercolor brush to kind of get the desired effect that I wanted. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Those are my favorite ways to layer mediums right now. There's a million ways to do it, I'm sure, but I think these are very user-friendly, beginner-friendly if you have any of these art supplies. And they each create a different type of feel. That's the acrylic ink with the gouache and colored pencil. That's our Fineliner watercolor gouache colored pencil tree. It has some interesting effects from the watercolor. It has that nice texture from the colored pencil. And then here is our watercolor pencil with our gouache. And that also has its own unique vibe. So there are some basic ideas for you to layer mixed media if you're interested in mixed media at all. Hope you guys enjoyed this little Christmas video. And let me know if you use any of these techniques already or if you're going to try something new.
If you made it to the end of this video, you're awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I'm happy to be here making videos with you. And if you like what you see, definitely subscribe so we can stay connected. I will see you guys in more videos. Take care. Bye-bye now.